Tuilaepa, thank you for joining me today. First, we ask our Heavenly Father, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit to bless this show with divine wisdom. This is a talk show where we celebrate, debate, question, interview topics that are happening around the whole of the Moana Pacific. I have once again the special guest, Honourable Tuilaepa, former Prime Minister of 22 years and currently the opposition leader of Samoa. It's a pleasure to have you on again to the show. Dr. Tuilaepa, welcome.
Well, thank you very much for the continuation of our program, where you ask about our views on certain issues that you have selected, impacted on the running of our country by our government. First, this program has been very useful for the understanding of English-speaking people that listen in. And a lot of our people who are born overseas and also locals who have emigrated to overseas countries would prefer to listen to the English version of any discussion. So that is why this program is popular. There is one thing I want to state, and that is perhaps to change our schedule from Sunday to Wednesday evening, same time. And the reason is I want to go back to the program, the old program by the Mouth of the Inga in Samoan, and that we continue ours on Wednesday evening. And the reason why that is good is that the Mouth of the Inga usual program will cover areas of development up to Sunday, and then developments from Monday to Wednesday can be covered in our program, so that there will be no repetition, or there is an opportunity to elaborate further on issues that may not have been completely understood. So once again, greetings to all the listeners.
Thank you, Honourable Tuilaepa. We are just grateful that you're able to come online and share with us your knowledge and help out what's happening with the government at the moment in Samoa. So thank you again for your time. And yes, we can definitely adjust to that time, and I'm sure the listeners will be okay with that. Honourable, not many stories coming out, but there are big stories though. These stories that we don't have many questions, but the questions that we have is very deep. First of all, I want to start off with the blackout in Upolu. I'm sure you guys suffered on Friday, 7 p.m. when the lights just suddenly went out. Honourable, has to be unacceptable for the government to be able to allow this to happen in Samoa. Do you have any thoughts as the opposition leader?
The lights went out when I was at home, ready for our meal, and our place went dark. What happened was, that same time, the Prime Minister had launched the new rugby union. And suddenly, at the vital point, when speeches began, the lights went off, and that they continue their proceedings in the dark. I think this is a very significant development. It is significant because by some very mysterious force, it went off exactly at a time that this ridiculous, illegal establishing of a second union was launched. And the members of the World Rugby Council who were here have strongly suggested that a complete review of the situation be carried out by the members of the World Rugby to confirm whether the allegations by Lauli are correct. I am very happy that that is done, because they will find that all the allegations they have made are all ridiculous and political. This is very important, because if Lauli stupid move is accepted, I am sorry for the sons and daughters of Samoa. There will be no more professional sport in Samoa. They will all be governed by political leaders whose only interest is to put in their own relatives and their own friends with money to play and pay back for the leaders. The same kind of development also happens in Tonga and Fiji, politics creeping in. And that is why Tonga, up to now, has never been accepted by the World Council of Rugby to be included, except Fiji for a short time. And they were again excluded from the council because politics again play the role. And only when the government apologized and decided not to interfere again, that Fiji was accepted back. This is what I am afraid of, because I know the policies of the World Rugby, and I did not want to be the cause of any unjustified accusations against me for my continuing to be the chairman of Samoa. That's why I decided to retire early. But then that sort of made the leader of the country more stupid and wanted to appear that he has power. And a lot of those who are joining in, including some of the clubs, are saying, even if we are kicked out from the World Rugby, so we do not care. When our leader said something, the World Cup, the World Rugby must listen. It's all the kind of stupidity that is emerging from the supporters of the past. They don't care, even if the boys are removed. But they say that when their leader speaks, the World Cup, the World Rugby powers must listen. This is all rubbish and garbage coming out from the mouths of people who know nothing about rugby.
It's a sad story. Honourable, it's a very sad story. I was sad to see the story come and break in on Wednesday the middle of the week. You know what? I just wanted to ask, what are we waiting for now? Are we waiting on the government to give back feedback to kind of settle with the review of the World Cup? Is that what we're waiting for, Honourable, from the government?
Well, the review will be undertaken by the World Rugby representatives. I am happy that that will happen.
Okay.
They will come and listen to proposals, to the thinking behind the government. And you know, one of the worst accusations we received was the Prime Minister's reference that he was told by the Australian government that they don't have any trust in the old rugby, Samoa board because they are all crooks. Australian authorities have denied that they have ever said that. So it means the lying by our Prime Minister is well known. A liar is well known in our part of the world.
So we are waiting on that, Honourable. Is this going to take a few weeks, or is it while the delegation of World Rugby is there? That's how long it's going to take for them to come to a decision.
Well, I hope it should take only 4 weeks or 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks. What must be understood is that there are procedures, there are legal procedures in the society's law for all clubs to meet annually. It's a requirement of the World Rugby that all unions must meet annually. And it is in these meetings that the annual general meeting of each union will have the opportunity to look at what the board has been doing. If they found the board to be not doing the right thing, then they are out. That's where the power comes in. The selection of board members. It comes from the union representatives at the annual general meeting. And when it comes to election of its board members, I have never been rejected. And Namlo Uru has never been rejected. It means that the policies are open and the chances for all the rugby unions in Samoa who are unhappy with the way the union is being run, they have the power to dismiss the unions, which have never happened. So the kind of review that the World Rugby is going to undertake would be the same kind of review that is done by the shareholders, of the rugby Samoa. The reason why we changed the word from Samoa Rugby Union, SRU, to Lakapi Samoa was to differentiate us from other unions. Because every union that has an S to their name, what we call S Rugby Union, Singapore Rugby Union. So we have the same SRU with all countries that has the S as its name. Uh, uh, SRU, SRU. And we decided to differentiate our union by calling it its Samoan name, Lakapi Samoa. Uh, Now they are going back and call the union Samoa Rugby Union.
From your side, Honourable, because you're not inside the rugby union at the moment. You retired, um, and now as from the side, from the perspective, if the rugby union, World Rugby, come back after the review, and you're happy with the results that they all give, is this the pathway that you're saying on the record, Honourable?
I have no doubt that what Lauri wants from the rugby union will never happen, because it is the constitution of the rugby union and the way the board members are selected. That's where the selection is made. And if the members of a rugby union do not meet the requirements of the constitution of the Samoa Rugby, of Lakapi Samoa, automatically they will be removed by the AGM. None of that happened. So what Lauli is suggesting, I am sure it can be hardly swallowed by the World Rugby Council.
I find it really hard to understand the Prime Minister's angle on this. All I could see is just politics. He's playing clear politics here, because one thing that I know about Lakapi Samoa, what you guys are talking about, is good governance. And so when the World Rugby come to review the stuff that you guys have done, they will surely see what the results are on how good governance is ran, and be hard to move you off. But Honourable, the question for me is, what do you think Lauli's point of view is? Like, what's his? I mean, we had England versus Fiji. They got smashed 70 points to. They got smashed by 70 points. Fiji against England. I mean, does that mean Fiji needs to look at their board? I mean, this is a. I'm trying to understand. What do you think the Prime Minister is saying the reason the problem is in Samoan rugby? Is he referring to the stories that has said before, or is he trying to attack the rankings of Samoa? Is this what he's going off, Honourable? Is this what you think his angle is?
All he is interested in is that he, Lauli, controls rugby. That's all. The man is stupid. He never understands anything. He never understands or tries to understand about the rules that the World Rugby follows. What is amazing is that the members of parliament supporting him just go along with whatever he says. And why? Because they are getting free trips from Lauri. They bet to agree to whatever stupidity he pronounces. They just laugh and just follow along, because they know they are accessing the misuse of government funds, with Lauri being the king leader, giving them example of how to use government money legally and without any person challenging. The person that should challenge it is the Attorney General. And the Attorney General is his lawyer who did all of his dirty work for the cases that he managed to slip through. So, what can an attorney general like that do? She will do nothing to correct any illegal proposal coming from the prime minister, because she, the attorney general, owes that high position to the prime minister's appointment.
There's so many things happening, so many people in important positions, needing to stand up. Honourable, what my angle here is, just to clarify the people at home. So the Lakapi unions all around Samoa have a chance every year to come and sit down with you when you were in at the time, but now you're retired, but to have a chance to change certain things in the board. So that means good governance is being served. It's open book, meaning these Lakapi unions can have a chance to speak up. Now, if Laoli is saying there are other Lakapis that are being on his side, that is clear politics. That is clear politics, is what what's been done here. But I'm happy that we have the chance that you can speak it up so people in English can understand, because I know you say it many, many times in Samoan and I hear it all the time. But now you get to say it in English. So thank you so much for that, Honourable, for that insight.
The worst thing he did, which is not good governance, is for him to travel to attend the death of his aunt in New Zealand, and decided to put his name to an already approved visitation of our workers by the minister in charge. So the cabinet minute was altered to include him to be able to be on that trip as if he was going to attend the trip by the minister, which was not necessary, but in order to attend his own family business, his wife, his children, and all paid for by the government. When that leakage came out, it forced him to travel to see the workers, requiring all the workers to attend to one place, which cost money, immense amount of money to the government to transport them, to be in one place. And then he got up and told another big lie, that it was he who initiated this program. He only became a member of parliament later. And the program was started by the former Prime Minister Helen Clark, with me as Prime Minister. And the whole program was under my ministry, the Prime Minister's ministry, and then later transferred to the Ministry of Labour, so that all this labour movement become their responsibility. But all this was done in my time as leader of this country. And I even invited the government, and the Prime Minister was here when All Blacks came to play in Samoa for the first time. And Prime Minister of New Zealand came to rally for their team. If we had another 5 minutes, we would have beaten the All Blacks in Samoa. All the farmers where our workers work came together with the Minister of Labour, I summoned a meeting with all of them in Samoa. And I told the minister that you ought to uplift the lid of people coming to work in New Zealand, which at the time was fixed at 8,000 workers from Samoa, from Tonga, from Fiji, the RSE scheme, RSE. And I pushed the Minister of Labour to increase the intake of laborers from here, from Tonga, from Fiji, above 8,000. And all the farmers clapped and were in agreement. The reason why New Zealand stopped the inner cap was because they want to offer employment to all the unemployed Samoans, Fijian, and Tonga in New Zealand. There are these works that they ought to do. But of course, it was never accepted because they receive about the same money by being unemployed on the New Zealand scheme. So I kept saying to the minister, you created the problem with your own scheme of remunerating those without work. Why should you go to work if you get about the same by working and sweating your whole person climbing up the apple trees when you get the same for nothing, do nothing?
Mm.
These are the things that he never understood, that this fellow, our prime minister, never understood, because he was never in the game. He could not, older MPs that could have gone in his place, who was very new and knew nothing about what was going on. He still knows very little right now. But because of the lies that he has been able to tell people, and he acknowledged it, Samoa, in Samoa, I can lie to them, and because so many are stupid, they believe me. He has said that several times, and it's been on it's been on the internet.
What a way.
So we have a PM who is a terrible liar. And as you know, he's suing me for defaming him as a liar. I don't have any problem. There are so many lies that he forgot to remember the many, many lies that he told.
Maybe, Honourable, that's probably the key to his success in his lying. I think that's politics to him, is lying. Because, I myself, I don't like liars. And especially when they, when they continue to make stories. I just wanted to ask Honourable, with that story of the RSE scheme and him saying that he was the one who had started this scheme to help get it pushed. What do we call these type of people in Samoan? And is this common in Samoan community? These type of people that just lie and for their own gain. To myself, I say fia kangaka, but I don't know if there's another term. What do you in the Samoan?
Well, recently I was interviewed by the media, and I said this: all of you leaders of Samoa, parents whose children will be denied opportunity to play professional sports, And you have been supporting the present government. When our boys are kicked out of World Rugby, you know, you should remember this. The damage done to your children was done by a man that you voted in and continue to believe his lies. So don't come to me, go to him for a solution to the future of your children. You appointed him because you want to believe his lies. Therefore, don't come back to me. Go to him to fix the problem and give back the opportunity, because your children, our children of Samoa, will never, ever play professional sport, because any government in the future will look at the precedent set and will then follow. I pray that when the HRPP come to power again, because no tree can forever stand. And when we come back, we are going to make damn sure that laws are in place and higher penalties to be imposed on any future leader that comes and abuses his power, interfere stupidly with the future of our professional players.
Well said, Honourable. You know, if you were to come back into play at power, Honourable, or HRPP were to come into power, do you think there's a possibility that we can ban lying from politicians? Is that such a weird thing to ask? Is that outrageous? No. Oh, I think
There
that
is a country that I recently read that for a simple lie, proven, member of parliament should be jailed.
And you know, it's crazy, Honourable. You know, a lot of people look at you and they think that you're a liar. You know, a lot of people believe what you're saying, but a lot of people who are too weak to understand to think you're a liar. But the thing is,
You know, I have been asking loudly to tell me a single thing that they accuse me of and has proven. They're unable to do that. That's why they employ an auditor to search for these things, and still nothing. And they are now saying the audit report is incomplete. There are certain things missing. And the certain things missing, there's nothing to support their accusations that I bought houses overseas with government money. I have never done that. I never have a house outside in New Zealand or Australia or in America or in Russia or in China. I don't have a house, and I don't have a single cent in a bank account anywhere outside of Samoa. So they have tried to pin me on that, and they've found nothing. They've also tried to accuse us on selling that we sold Chinese land. They have never found anything. And what is amazing to me is that a lot of our people internally and overseas keep on voting this fellow in. Why? Money. You know, people can be so stupid that with money they lost the intelligence. With money, and you cannot blame them. Why? That even with students who spent 3 years with God, and he used money to betray the killing of the Son of God. Who are we to compare? So money is the root of all evil. With all the good judgment that has been vested by God to all our leaders, religious and traditional, many of them went mad with money. And no wonder Satan, who was the greatest of all angels, standing God, but was rebelled by God when he started to disobey and commit the sin of pride. Pride. And three things that the devil used on all leaders are: one, power. The two stupid uh, grasp for power and the misuse of it on gaining it. The second thing, money, misusing money on gaining popularity and with sinful acts committed. And thirdly, sex. These are the three things that Satan uses to bring about the fall in many leaders, particularly money, health, and of course, sex.
So true, Honourable. I just wonder why they're like that. People are like that. That's why I asked, what is it in the term in Samoan? Why people are like this? It's a completely different conversation, Honourable, if we were to go there. But we talk about money, and another big story here is the Faleata number 2 left with $1,017 left in the account. They are not allowed to give. They're not allowed to get their other $1.8 million to go into this Faleata chairwoman's account or the Faleata's account. Honourable, what are your thoughts on this story? Is this a good thing that they are stopping it? They need clarification on where the money has gone first?
That is part of good governance. Everything must be clear. But the present government thrives on lack of good governance. It amused me at the recent appointment of our commission of Sulfainga ombudsman, and they put in Vui, former Judge Vui, who is now retired. Vui gave an excellent address on what he's going to do with people's rights. Because human rights of the United Nations is taken care of by our ombudsman. Besides their duty to respond to complaints from the public servants. And as you know, the complaints from public servants are usually on unfair dismissal, on direction from Lauli and cabinet. So imagine a disgruntled public servant, CEO, goes to Vui, and Vui writes out a report to recommend the reinstatement. You know what Lauli will do? He will just throw his piece of paper into the rubbish bin. So it amused me with all this stupidity that has come out, knowing very well Lauli will never care for the rights of people that he has started on that does not do and carry out his illegal activities and order. So when that happens, if the top man commits a criminal activity like using money and off without authority of the law, what can you expect other public servants? They will do the same. But what is most disturbing, was the grant that was given by New Zealand of 10 million for the boat that was sunk and was used by Lauli for political purposes, bribing 10 million to bribe the voters of Safata so that their candidate won, and distributing it during the week of the voting. But this money arrived 1 year ago, over 1 year ago, and was withheld to be used for bribing the voters. I want to state this categorically. This money coming from New Zealand was used for bribing our people. Sweat of the New Zealand labor and given to Samoa to bribe the voters of Safata by the present government. I want to state this categorically because from New Zealand and Australia, monies are pouring in on budget support and are being used illegally by the present government. I want to say this often, over and over and over again, because of donors' over stupidity in putting the argument of helping the standard of living of the people out in the country. And they know that it's been abused, and they still proceed and give this money without tough conditions to stop the abuses of the sweat of taxpayers in New Zealand and Australia to prop up this illegal government in Samoa.
Well said, Honourable. Again, with this subject here, you're talking about the 10 million. A lot of people are refusing to stand up. But just from your opinion, Honourable, do you feel like there's enough people standing up, or is it just you at the moment and Lealapule and your HRPP? Is there anyone else, like the media? Are you disappointed with some certain public servants at the moment that realistically, if they were doing their job, they will be standing in the same standing with you?
This is the problem. The JAWS, the Journalists Association, most of the members are just supporters of the government. The leader of the other media is now an advisor to the Prime Minister. So he must be getting over 100,000 a year.
Yeah.
He was the one who was sued together with Lauli over the abuse of misusing a company's money that Pesita was also party to the company.
Mm.
So this company's money was misused by Lauli, who set up with his colleagues, one of whom is a media person who is now his advisor, to set up this company on a fake license. Now, what was strange was that only one person was penalized, but Lauli was not. It is still raising question in my mind whether the judge was doing the right judgment.
I hope things start to change, Honourable. But you're doing a great job as the opposition leader, trying to keep the peace of Samoa. You know, many times I see you in the positions over the years as being the opposition leader. You've been in some really tough scenarios. And, you know, I always thought, like, as a leader, you've always, even though you had the opportunity to kind of create something that will blow up all of Samoa, you've always managed to go to peace. And I admire that about you, Honourable. Is that something that you always been brought up with, Honourable? Always turn to peace when scenarios like that?
No one will do what we have been able to do against a government that was so strong in abusing the powers given to them, even ignoring the Constitution. Ever since from the time of Fiame, and she was unceremoniously dumped by the present leader, who was his deputy, her deputy. And Fiame, amongst all of them, spent more time with our former prime minister and 25 years with me, sitting next to me and seeing how the good governance principles was being acted on. But her deception came when Lauli left the party and offered the prime ministership to her. He would have been the prime minister now. That would have gained the respect of the country. In 2007, when Malielegaoi died, and we proceeded to appoint a successor, I whispered to her, sitting next to me, "Do you want to become head of state now?" She said, "Oh, no. We could have made her head of state at the time." I had also offered to her in 2016 the post of the Council of Deputy. She also did not accept because she wanted to become prime minister. And if she was honest, she would have become prime minister now and gained the respect of the country. And then he made the mistake of choosing Lauli, who offered her to come and join. So the first one, due to Fiame's support from the women organization that was created by her mother. And of course, with the money they get from the some Chinese businessmen, they were able to go around the country for the first time and dance and distribute these monies to the people. They won because they broke the law on bribing people during election time. That's how they won in 2016. 21 election. They also won this election because they did the same, much more. And I had warned Fiame of the final distribution of over 1 million before the election took place. And she did not listen to me. It is during the last election. And Fiame went ahead and distributed that enormous amount of money to complete that year's funding of their $1 million. So she now regretted her loss because of money, but she did not listen to our recommendation at the time before the general election, and we talked to them. She asked me to come and discuss the general election, how we could work together against Lauli and team.
I think that's one thing I take from you guys, you Honourable, good governance. HRPP have good governance. Then my next question here I have, as I said, I don't have much questions here. Another big story that was going around, Mota Samoa v England got the victory of beating their case against other media in New Zealand. Your thoughts on this? Is this a good win for media to is this a good win? Because it could be Mota today, it could be someone else tomorrow. Honourable, what's your thoughts on this victory?
It was a good decision. When you want to sue somebody, you should appear. You should appear. And for so many months, Tuilaepa and Ainu were forcefully required to stay here. That is a huge defamatory action, particularly when the police went out and stopped the plane that Tuilaepa was about to depart because of Samoa, only Tuilaepa, to go to Australia, because he was a very sick man and he was facing breathing difficulties. He could have died. And it is ridiculous, embarrassing. The plane was about to take off and was stopped again, and police came inside and escorted him out like a criminal. That is a very inappropriate performance by the police. But of course, Lauli was behind it. And also, the guy that was behind all these defamations that many people believe is afraid to come. And the question that I pose to all the supporters of the fast, if they believe that I committed crimes, stealing money, why don't they take me to court? Why don't? And why is it when issues are raised and they are being challenged, like the court case, against Ainuu and Tuilaepa. Why don't they come and stand before the court if what they say is correct? They are afraid. They are afraid. Afraid of what? Because their lie will be proven in court. They have been lying. And what about the damage against Ainuu and Tuilaepa? The harm done for taking Tuilaepa from the plane while everybody is watching. And he was ill. See? He was ill. And the police should have been very, very careful in discharging their duty. And of course, the highlight of the case is to question the activities of the police. Why did they do that? The police response. That is another terrible, terrible problem facing Samoa now. The police loudly brought back a few police that were kicked out by the former Commission of Inquiry. Mr. Kyle, because they were found guilty of non-performance. And they are brought back by Lauli and acted as the boss for these three. So they are reporting to Lauli every activity done by the police that Lauli does not approve. So here you have a great division within the police itself. Who to listen to? Lauli is now controlling what the police should do. And this is well known in Samoa now, well known overseas in New Zealand, well known in Australia. There is an investigation for which overseas police, I think New Zealand police, they come to investigate the death of a school kid, university kid, that was looked as if it was murdered and thrown on the side of the road, just right next, the house right next to the where the FAS had its celebration way back in 1921.
Yep.
It was quite obvious where he was killed. So this lie was created that Leala was responsible. And we are still pushing for, because we know you cannot commit a crime and people don't know about it. Strong rumors, withhold those rumors of a trick that was made to accuse Leala. And the reports, what came before the court when that decision was made, it surprised us of the decision that came out, which is why Leala is again requesting the court that if it is not, if its appeal is not accepted, then a review. And it was erroneously reported that the court rejected it was already discussed that the review is agreeable under the law, but not the appeal. And we are hoping that that review will disclose some kind of solution to napping the people that killed Tuilaepa, who were in the fast government at the time. That's our that's what we believe of the rumors that came to us.
Do you think those police officers, have you guys been given information on those officers' job to do the investigation, or is it a part investigation, Honourable? Is this something that you know that's what their job is to do?
We heard that Lauli has been initiating the investigations, a kind of make-believe move,
Yeah.
and requested the New Zealand police to help out. New Zealand understands the situation, that it was a make-believe thing. But between countries, it seems that the police of New Zealand can only come to advice, but never to be involved, which is good. So that is very interesting.
Very interesting to see the outcome of that. Honourable, that's pretty much all my questions. I just wanted to ask, my last question was about, I come around and I can see I see your book, your a book, and you got your photo on there. I haven't managed to go on around to have a look at your book because I'm still waiting for the English version to come around. But I'm just fascinated. I've heard that you're maybe releasing another book, Honourable. Is there any news on this? Truth to this, Honourable?
Yes, it should take place in September. I have been invited to come to Australia to attend a wedding. People that are known to me. 2 years ago, I was given that invitation, and I gave my okay. I subsequently decided to launch my book in Samoan, which is called Ala Famua. In which I explain all the actions, projects done by the HRBP government in since 1982 when we took over to the time we left the government in 2021. So all the projects that we did, I have given in the book, together with the background and together also with the consequences. There is a chapter on rugby. And I will explain all the achievements that we made, exposing the stupidity that we've all heard about. There are references to many things, like why we decided to change the constitution and call Western Samoa Samoa, and the interference by 2 members of the Senate that came to see me threatening our people to come on Samoa only passport to be returned to Samoa. Uh, there are a lot of things that people did not know about of the efforts that we did. There's also another which I explained. The whole reason why we created a township in Salilonga. We're also addressing the opening of Asau by creating a proper entrance into the harbor. That is the problem. If that harbor is developed by creating a proper entrance that is sufficiently large and deep for any major ship in the world, the east of Sailele will undergo extremely important developments in the future and could become a harbor for other ships to berth and go back without having to come to Apia to supply the market in Sailele, or even calling in first in Asau, then continue to come to Apia. Salilonga can also become an international port. But what is happening in Salilonga is that it has a long entrance distance from the harbor, and it is constantly refilled with sand movements. So what is necessary in opening up the harbor in Salilonga as an international shipping port is to continue to maintain a machine equipment that will be capable of removing the sand movement from the harbor to keep it deep, to continue to keep the harbor deep for use by international shipping. As for the major port for the whole country to develop here in Waitere and Waius, to accommodate for boats to come in on a deep harbor at Moreno. I dived because I also dived to the bottom, 90 feet below. I dived there when I was a young Minister of Finance to look at development. I became involved. I also dived several times in Apia Harbor to check where the boats, the big tankers, the float where the big tankers at the time hang on to for not entering the wharf. It was not good enough at the time. So I kept the diving there at its depth of 55 feet at high tide, and it's all sandy. In Murilo'o, it's full of coral at the bottom, but extremely deep, 90 feet deep. That is the future development port for Apia. The one at Matautu is too small. Only one big ship can berth at a time. We should have a wharf that will take up to 20, 30 ships at any time. That is possible at Waitere. It means that there will be no more connection to Murinu from there, because the entrance will come there, through there, right down even to Vayusu village. And it is extremely calm every day. And it's outside of the movement of the car that caused damage to a lot of ships at Matautu. It eventually happened to the Samoa big liner forum, Samoa. It was dragged onto the reef and damaged as a result. And it is the beginning of the liquidity, the winding up of Pacific Forum Line that was later tendered out, and Samoa bought it. We bought the Samoa Forum Line, and it's now owned by Samoa without any ships. But we own all the equipment on the wharves in the countries of the Pacific that Pacific Forum Line traveled to. And when at a time when Lawofo Meredith was Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Shipping, he went to attend one of the meetings and came back and put a paper into cabinet, which we approved, that some more of a bid. And we bid, the only country that bid, and we won the bid. And so Pacific Forum Line became ours. Later on, another big airline, liner in the Pacific offered to come and provide the ships, and that they own part of the share of the shareholding. So we have the Pacific Forum Line owned 50% by our country and by the Neptune shipping line that has over 6 ships traversing the Pacific. It is the ship liner that takes Pacific waters of Fiji water to the Americans. So with the Pacific Forum Line, we are competing, therefore, with other liners, helping to control the increase of freights. At a lunch not long ago with Tupola, who is running the line, from a very good accountant and a very educated person, intelligent, who was former head of the Samoa Shipping Corporation. And during his time, profits mounted and continued until a time when he requested my cabinet if he could be allowed to go overseas to complete his studies. We allowed him, came back, graduated, and we gave him the advisor position on shipping. So he's still running the Samoa shipping line, which used to be the Pacific Forum Line. And at a recent meeting with him, he tells me that over 30 million has been earned and remitted to the FAST government. And he has been able to settle all the debts on the line, which is something which the government seems to be preoccupied with debts. Why should they be worried with debts? Samoa has paid its debts on a program right from the beginning of our independence. There's always a program for payment of debt. And you can't develop without debts. When you go and borrow from the from the bank, have your development and pay back. Not the situation when you borrow and you don't pay back. It's always been the policy of government that we give priority to the payment of debts. Because in debts, we have the dignity of the whole country. And what is left over will then be used for two ways. First, to pay for the running of the country. That is called maintenance expenditure, current maintenance expenditure. And what is left over, you have for development. So what every good government run under good governance is try and meet its debts. What is left over, try to control the current expenditure so that there is enough left over for development. Present time, there is nothing for development. In fact, the overseas aids are now funding of maintenance and all the development expenditure, all funded from overseas. And that is why we have a deficit, because we depend on overseas countries to pay for the development. So how about if development countries, developed countries under our donor countries, an organization stop the aid because of the present abuse of money, then there will be no more development. Which is why, because monies are being handed out, millions of dollars, with thousands of dollars in the bank for distribution, you'll never find a properly run country with a chairman running around with a bag of thousands and thousands of money to bribe people. You never do that. Why? Because once you do that, you are about, this natural tendency is to use the money. And that is being done by a lot of their MPs who have been chairman of the Honourable. And the reason why they don't want us to come, because we will never allow that if we chair our own meeting of our own Honourable. So I like to intervene here to explain what the hell is going on in Samoa and the amount of lies that is being told. And the fellow doesn't care. So what we are looking forward to is when our case will be heard, when he is alleging that I was defaming him for making him tell lies, or rather defaming him for telling the whole world that he's a liar. He is a liar. So what does he have to defend? He is a liar. And the former Attorney General told him that the case is very weak against the government. But the present Attorney General came, who did all the dirty work for the Prime Minister. Now the Prime Minister pay her back by making her an AG. What would she now bring up to defend? And I think she has finally woken up to the fact that it would be very difficult for her to find a way. So she may also acquire another lawyer from outside to come and tell lies in front of the court. So it's a case that I'm looking forward to.
Honourable, thanks for the insight for what you're explaining. When you talk about debt and the Prime Minister and the way he's scared of debt and, things like that, I always think back to the time when you kind of gave it to him in Parliament, He has said that he is the man in business, he knows business. And you turned around and you said, I'm business for the whole country. That rings in my mind when you say that, because, I could see that the difference between you and the Prime Minister at the moment is that he has a business mindset, but it's a business mindset for himself. But in owning the government, being the head of the government, you're not thinking for yourself. You're thinking for the whole country. And I think this is where we're having a lot of problems. We're having the way that the Prime Minister, he thinks the government, and I'm not trying to be insultive to the Prime Minister, but he thinks the government is his business. Samoan business, anything you got to do with him, anything you got to do with Samoa, Lakabi Samoa, the ferries, any department, it's got to do with the Prime Minister because he is the head of Samoa. So then that means he runs Samoa like it's his own business. But you talk about debt. You went to university. I'm not trying to push you up, Honourable, but you go to university and understanding economics and understanding these things that you went and studied for. It's not to be proud and try and put it out there that you're better. It just it makes sense that you have been trained to take care of the government of Samoa. And I can see the difference between you and the Prime Minister at the moment. He runs the country like it's his own business. And I really think that's the problem we have here in Samoa. Honourable, but that's my questions all done.
It's the reason that I have done my best to encourage educated people of this country to come and run the government. We don't want idiots to come and run the country, while the educated people who should have known better are sitting outside of government and not doing anything. We just cannot, we who have been educated by using the monies of our country, to come back and put something back to the government to serve our people well. But there is a qualification. People who are educated and honest, because there are educated people who are extremely dishonest and are party to the government, but very dishonest because of one thing: self-interest, to fill their pockets with other people's assets. That is the one weakness, and why I have been qualifying my comments that we need people who are educated, devoted, honest, and have a high sense of integrity. We need those people to come and run the country. And I am sure the experience they are getting now, I am looking forward to better government in the future. Which is why also I want to put something in writing to correct the abuses and the lies that are being told. I don't think our fathers of the Constitution had ever dreamt that this kind of government will ever take place in Samoa that would abuse their powers openly. It is why I keep asking constituencies to send in their MPs to support the present government. Are they happy with what is happening? The boss does his own politicking and direct the MPs to do likewise. Do they have any common sense? Do they have any conscience? You see, when God created the world, He created man especially to take care of his creation. And so He gave man first the soul that will make him everlasting and be like God. Two, He gave them knowledge of what is right and what is wrong. And three, He gave him free will to choose the right or choose the wrong doing. So God gave them these three major assets. So when our first parent chose the wrong things to do, resulting in punishment for everyone that is born into this world, and introduce illnesses, introduce death as payment for the disobedience of our first parents and the bad choice they made. Immediately there is a question: why did God ever allow this when He should have just created good to stop evil? You see, when God gave that, the answer is God gave responsibility to exercise their own responsibility, to be free to make their own choices. And when Adam and Eve disobeyed, what happened? God set up a judgment. He formally sit in judgment and directed the judgment. He gave, this is the first court case held in the world by God. He gave them the opportunity to defend themselves, something which is being followed by all the courts of the world, giving him the opportunity to defend himself, which is seen as a very weird thing because God Himself knew what they did. But He still set up this precedent to be followed by all the judges in the world. Why? Because whereas God knew what they do without the need to ask for any defense, all the judges of the world don't know and they needed witnesses in order to arrive at a decision. So God established the precedent of giving the offender the right of response. It was only after the judgment was given, the explanation was given. Remember what Adam says. We heard you, Lord. We did not respond when you call on us. And why is that? The reason was we were naked. So they got themselves leaves to cover themselves up. And it explains also what they were doing. It explained also the reason, the kind of tree of life that the Lord talked about. And it was left to humanity to explain, to reason what the tree of life was that God was talking about. It is being disclosed here in this very first judgment by God. And immediately God gave what will happen. First, you have to work to earn your living. You see, previously God provided everything in paradise. Now you have to sweat it out to earn a living, not to wait for government to distribute money. That is wrong. That creates people who don't want to work. It creates stealing, thieves, because thieves will steal the fruits from the labor of others. So there's a reason why God directed that a justified way to live is not to depend on anybody else or free money to be distributed. You go and work your guts out in your plantation to earn a living. You don't do that, you disobey God's rule. So all that is happening to those who are depending on handouts are offending God for disobeying His directive. Secondly, it seemed that the snake had legs, was able to walk around. And God decreed that for the rest of your life, you will, crawl on your stomach as a punishment for what you did. Thirdly, you, snake, will continue to suffer from the woman who and her baby, who will stand on your head. Who is that woman? And who is that baby? The baby is the Son of God. And the woman is Mary, his mother. Right there, it means the salvation was created right there immediately when our first father, Adam and Eve, finished the judgment. And God then talked about Mother Mary and Jesus. It means for billions of years, the saving Christ has already been announced by the Lord right from the beginning, and from whom we were destroyed by our first mother, and we were going to be saved by a second woman, the mother of Christ. And what do you see a lot of people do? They hate Mary and made very bad comments about Mary. You know, the Lord spoke about unforgivable sins against the Holy Spirit. And in the writings of the church, the Lord explained, anybody who makes fun of the Holy Spirit, Mary and me, especially surrounding the birth of my mother, any person who speaks evil of the Holy Spirit and my mother and God, his sins will never be forgiven. It is said in the Bible, but not many have spoken about this important decision that was made by God himself right on the day that Adam and Eve case was heard by God himself. So I think we have been touching very deep into the biblical world.
It's good. It's good we get into that, Honourable, because it really helps us. You know, we're Samoans are all religious. We are all believe in Christ, and yes, you know, when, to your point there, you know, Mother Mary, you know, in families, the mum is the center of the family. You know, and it does take me a little bit to understand that, but you know, really, you know, Mother Mary. If you think about our own family, how important Mother Mary is in her role.
Yeah, you see, the point is made. Considering the human character, humanity, and the human character. If I am there in the midst and somebody says something bad about my mother and my father, you know what will happen? I'll get up and clobber him or her. So considering the number of abuses that a mother of God suffer from those, even religiously, who say bad things against the mother of God, what does the Lord think? What does God think? The three persons in the Blessed Trinity, what do they think? This is very bad. It is a reminder, a warning to all who have made it their habit of condemning the Mother of God just because they see the Catholics honor the Mother of God. So it is more a personal, stupid anchor between different denominations, forgetting that they also must refer to the Bible and read and be guided by the Bible. which is why those words we talked about before, what the Lord says, there are so many people who read and understands the Word of God, but never live it.
Honourable, do you think, because as Catholics, we pray the Rosary, and then I always think, maybe the Church had made this the reason why we say "Hail Mary, full of grace." This prayer we say we say it 10 times, yet we say the Our Father once, and glory be to the Father and to the Son once. Is this?
It's funny that you say it, because when I became Catholic in my young age, my parents, my grandparents, were pastors of the Congregation Church that took the Word of God to Papua New Guinea. That's my grandfather and my grandparents. Fasto man, pastor who married my grandmother that comes from Falau, Nayot, which is why I honor Fasto and Nayoti of Falau. Now, my mother happened to be the offspring of Tuilaepa from Lepa, married to a daughter of Nayot, which is why I am Tuilaepa of Lepa, Nayoti of Falau, and I honor of Fasto. I see that a lot of stupid people are trying to say that I am not born of my parents. I do not know where my parents were. What I have given in that photo are my parents and my father's relationship to Palevao and also Fasto. But my mother comes from next door, Alfanga, which is why I was thankful for my father, that he did not have to search very far. He just came along to neighboring village of Alfanga and found my mother, Lasunia of the Soliai family, Lupe Soliai, which is why I am also Lupe Soliai Tat. I hold the Lupe Soliai Tat from Alfanga. So body and soul, I am an offspring of Lepa and of Alfanga village. Alfanga, Lepa, and Tuilaepa are in my constituency. And Tuilaepa has a lot of relatives of our other Tuilaepa members that we hold the title together. So that is why the whole district continue to support me, because of my family extended connection and the fact that they supported everything that I say and do in Parliament. And I therefore must have my gratitude to all the leaders of our district and also the pastors of my district for praying for the Lord's help to me in the discharge of my oath that I took before God.
So, Honourable, you being a Catholic, so your grandparents were not Catholics at this, they were a different faith, and then you were a Catholic born into it, or you were, You baptized yourself?
Well, I became a Catholic when I came to attend school in Apia at a very young age, about 5 years. I came to Apia. My aunt brought me to Apia, uh, and I have to be rebaptized into the Catholic Church in order to get the certificate to be accepted in a Catholic school. At that time, there were very few entries because the Catholic schools were most popular. So that's how and so to me, it was only a way to get education. Until I visited at a young age, I visited the Nelson Library, the National Library, and there I saw a very small book on the history of the church in the world, Christian church in the world. I took that little book. I think I must have been 12 or 13 years at the time. And then the title was The Beginning of the Christian Church in the World. And I saw the traces of the history from Peter, Jesus granting the right to Peter to set up his church, and then all along to the 15th century, when Martin Luther, a priest, decided to protest against the ruling of the Pope. And Peter, I mean, the Pope at the time condemned Martin Luther. And Martin Luther, following his protest, and all the others educated people came up with Martin Luther. And so is the beginning of the Protestant churches. All the churches were then against the Pope, against the universal church, which is universal. So I learned right from the beginning the history of the church, and I decided that I would stay true to the Catholic Church. And so I kept reading and reading, and I found out that Martin Luther also changed the wording. I think it is in the St. Paul's letter to the Corinthians. And there, Martin Luther was very strong on the faith alone. By the grace of God, he can save sinners. A very learned man. I respect him. He's a very learned man. I think the problem was the Pope at the time could have solved the differences. But I think he was high-handed in his relationship and what to do with Martin Luther. Martin Luther himself, before he became a priest, he was already a Master of Arts graduate. So he was very intelligent. As you know, not many people who enter the church as priest or pastor have decreased. Uh, so Martin Luther wrote changed that St. Paul's letter in which St. Paul talks about the importance of faith and work. And Martin Luther put in the word alone, faith alone. So you need no work. And the interesting thing is he then summoned his colleagues in the Protestant movement, and those colleagues are very learned too. They disallowed what Martin had done. They told him plainly, what you do is wrong. But it is still in the King James Version. So what happened was Martin Luther forgot to change what St. James' letter wrote. St. James was the son of the brother of Joseph that married Mary. And his son was Judah and James, that are often called Jesus' brothers, because in those days, your brother, your cousins are always called brothers and sisters, which is why people with simple minds think that Mary had other children and Jesus had other brothers. No. So Saint James was told by Jesus that you will be the head of the church in Jerusalem, because many will regret to be involved in my crucifixion. And now they have believed that I have risen. They believe I am God, the Son, want to come back. And if they come and see you, my cousin, they will then stay on. Otherwise, many will go back. And Israel, up to this day, are suffering from what they did to Jesus when they said his blood would be upon us and our children. That is why Israel is suffering until that day that they accepted that Jesus was the Messiah that they had been waiting for thousands and thousands of years, as prophesied. But when he came, they crucified him. Only when they admitted their mistake and that they all become Christians, only then that the Lord will then switch off all the lights, the sun and the moon, stars, and the only light we will get is coming from the cross that he will that will appear in the sky for only a short time, to give those people who are still alive time to say sorry. And then the end of the world and the judgment will take place. That is why, amidst all these forecasts, I keep believing forecasts about the war that could end the world. Because I read of the Lord's forecast himself. I'm waiting for that day when Israel has become a Christian nation. There are already people that have turned Christian, but there are still many more who are Jewish to honor the Saturday as the Sabbath against the Sunday, we all honor because it's a day of the Lord, that the Lord had risen. And if the Lord had not risen, there would never have been a Christian religion in the world. So this is very important understanding why, to your question, why I became a Catholic.
Thank you, Honourable, for that insight. It's good to, we talk about it. Because, politics now these days, I've seen a video in Samoa and the media host, Sailele, had been criticised by the other whewhiau. And I thought to myself, man, to this pastor, you're the representative of Jesus. You should not mix the, bringing condemnation towards Sailele and people or anyone in the media. And exactly what you've been trying to say, for the whewhiaus to do the right thing. Just is just. And what's wrong is what's wrong.
The other thing I also need to reveal is that in every village that I am matai of, I always make contributions to the pastors and to the church activities of the Efakasa in every village, 4 villages. That is more to honor the church of my parents and great-parents. So I still pay all my dues that are imposed by the Efakasa Church on top of the Catholic Church. So whenever I want to speak strong against the leaders of the Efaka, I reminded them that I'm also a member of the Efakasa because the proof is I make my contribution in accordance with the practice of the church. That's on top of my own contribution to my Catholic Church. So I am seen as both Catholic and supporter of the Protestant Efakasa. And I have nothing against the Protestant churches here. They are all doing great work. And when I was Prime Minister, I keep sending letters of congratulations because when they have their meetings in Samoa, because of the great help they do in coming from New Zealand, Australia, and meet here and talk about the solutions the church is facing against the world of sin today. Most of these sinful acts are introduced from outside. And to me, as leader at the time, it is great work because it also contributes to the bring up of the young generations to the ways of God and good behavior, strengthening, as it were, the leadership of the church and the leaders working hand in hand of the villages. So when I was out of town, I kept sending these congratulatory messages until recently I announced that I will do it no more directly because I found out that immediately my letter is read out, some HRBP members attending immediately come out and ring up Siame or Lauli now to send in another a government congratulatory note to counter my congratulatory note. together with money, so they kept sending in $10,000, which means the support is now done with money. Because they've done that too often, to me, I decided that I should no longer do it, because it looks like a competition between political leaders to gain the attention and support of the churches, which is wrong. Thereby, again, disclosing the kind of stupidity that the fast is doing, buying the support, bribing the church with financial support. This is very ugly and very bad, because I had never done that. And it is not justice in the eyes of God. But of course, when they asked me to help out with works that we normally do as a government on roading, we responded and do it. Because it's works that should have been done by the government. I always follow the rule, the governance, good governance.
That's why I say, Honourable, and this is something that's deep within myself. It doesn't matter how painful it is. Right is right, and the wrong is with the wrong. And that's why I admire and I stand with what you say and what you stand for. But thank you so much for your time, Honourable. If you have anything else that you want to finish off with, the floor is yours.
No, we have a great 2 hours of talking. Thank you for continuing this discussion, and God bless you. And I have nothing bad to try and unrealistically defame the government. All we do is to look at the laws they have broken and remind them. That's all we did. And up to now, and we are not afraid of threats that they threaten me with. You see, when they threaten us on the 15th of September to take us to prison if we don't leave the parliament when we came to be sworn in 1921, September the 15th, we did not go. We did not leave when they threatened us to leave. They even sent in the police to arrest us if we don't leave the grounds of Parliament, which is our right to be present. And I call a brief meeting sitting down on the ground and grass and the dirt, because the fast had informed the police not to give us any seats to sit on, and avoiding any umbrella to come and tell us from the sun. And yet there was a building there that we could, someone falling, that we could have resorted to. But the police on instructions prevented us. The head of state, deputy head of state, came when they saw what was happening from television, that we were being bullied and stopped to enter parliament for our, oath. And so the head of state arrived, deputy head of state arrived, They went in to appeal on our behalf. They were told to wait at the back for visitors until they finished the meeting. Then quickly, the speaker and Sheme and Patti quickly communicated to end the meeting quietly and disappear from the front door. So, well, the head of state waited and waited. There was no sound from the front. And when they came in, it was completely empty. And we were there with elders of the combined committee of Christian religion in Samoa. They came to try and appeal to the government on our behalf. We had a service outside the building because we were banned from entering, and went home because Fast Party leadership refused to meet with them. And when the leaders, the deputy, the head of state and members of the council deputy went back to the headquarters in Malielegaoi, the prime minister turned up, entered the room, and sharply reprimanded why they ever came to parliament. It's none of their business. Then stood up again, walked over to the door, and all the media were there. And they asked him, how was it going? It was a nice meeting. See the terrible things that we had to face. And then we took the matter to the court. The court directed. That was 16th of September, 2021. The court directed that we should take our oath as members of parliament forthwith. The word was forthwith. We found out that they decided to defer our oath the following week, as they had to quickly pass the budget without the opposition present. So we took the matter again on the evening of 16th of September 2021 to the CJ for his ruling. They issued an immediate order to the speaker to hand us sworn in on the 17th, or else he would view it as contempt of court, which was why we were sworn in on the 17th. And so started to challenge the government on the abuses of the orders of parliament. That they were discussing the budget in parliament without calling the subcommittee on the budget to study and make recommendations to parliament for its decision. That was never done. And when I raised this issue, the prime minister got up, well, it's too late. And we will continue. So she sat down. Continue. And what embarrassment. Because they were all new And the budget committee had not met because there was no budget committee that can be selected without us. There ought to be members of the opposition. So when the time came for questions, the the Minister of Finance could not understand a single thing. And so even the Speaker could not understand their role. And there was a lot of fun in that night when we got up and asked questions they could not answer.
Mm.
So the budget was forcefully approved. The abuse of the majority of the House in Parliament. The next thing they did was try to oust us, me and also Lala from Parliament, which they succeeded. We took the matter to court. The court reversed its decision. Again, Parliament passed another resolution to discharge us from Parliament, suspend us. Again, we took the matter to court, and we won again. So that's how bad these people are, trying to threaten the independence of Parliament, particularly us, because they know we will be after them for doing bad decisions against this country. They know very well what we will do. And we are never giving them a briefing holiday. We keep attacking and attacking and attacking. All their misdeeds, all their abuses of the law, which are being confirmed at times, and we take them to the law.
I remember that time, Honourable, because I was confused at that time when the head of state had come out and he had said that they are going to bring his, he's got to call for another election. And I was thinking, well, they should have. And then the court had said, we've got to still use that, what the head of state had said, and we've got to go ahead with that, which obviously brought the big roar of the constitution being broken and all that stuff, which I think that's truly, I know like it's hard to admit, but that's where really the downfall of Samoa really started.
I have made references to the two books written, especially the one that is going to be released soon. There was one written by my friend Peter, in which it's called Fono, and there is a chapter there. I wrote the introduction, and chapter 6, 7, and 8 are full of disclosures about this event. And I would like people to read that one. I also made some references to it in a new book that I will publicize shortly.
Looking forward to it. Honourable, thank you so much for your time. And we will meet again in our new arranged time, which will be not this week, the week after on Wednesday. Did you say, Honourable, or Friday? What was the best time?
I think Wednesday is okay.
Wednesday, okay. At the same time.
Because
Yep.
Friday is too close to Sunday, where I will
Yep.
Be again interviewed by Motorina.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, Honourable. So I look forward to our next time we talk in a week and a half's time. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Have a good week. Thank you guys for tuning in and still listening in to our conversation with the Honourable Dr. Tuilaepa. It's good to kind of let him talk and let him say his piece, because he's 83 or 84 years old. That's a long time, and still the opposition leader of Samoa. I mean, people start to. I'm not sure how many people have. Maybe their grandma or grandpa is 80 years old plus, and when you get to this age, you start to kind of realize, how vulnerable they can be, And he's 84, still going at this age, as he's still working, and he's still doing interviews. So he did an interview earlier today. He's done a few interviews during the week. And now he's obviously booked another interview on Sunday, back with the Motu Samoa. So I just understand, man, this guy has the energy to still keep fighting for what is the truth. And I know a lot of people think, a lot of people, maybe they don't have enough time to know or understand what's happening. But that's why I stand here on behalf and let him talk, let him say his story, because the things that he says, I resonate with. And as I said, it doesn't matter how popular you look, it doesn't matter how cool you look, it doesn't matter how you come into the picture, or you're making your point for your statement, whatever you're making. I'm always about what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And when I analyze everything, I could see it's clear by day. It's not like I'm 50-50. For him to be still standing here and to be still talking on our show, when he's been criticized for years. He's been criticized in 2011, all these things coming out, 2012, the stories against him in rugby, and still coming out on a show, still coming out. And it's almost like if it's too hard for you to fathom and you don't have the time to understand and go and look at the story that he's talking about, you wouldn't, logically, from a logical perspective, you wouldn't be in front of the camera if you are a crook. You wouldn't be showing your face if you have done something that's been dishonest. And this man sitting here trying to tell the Prime Minister, take me to court. Take me to court if I'm dishonest. Take me to court. Show the audit. Show the audit that you guys say that I'm wrong and I've stolen the money, or I've done all this stuff with the money and all this stuff. I've got houses here. Show me. And he still sits here and he says it. No one does. No one wants to take him on. And so then, for the logical person that's sitting there going, he's the problem and all this stuff, he's still standing here waiting for someone to challenge him, for someone to say, hey, all your stuff that you guys have said, bring me to court. I want to see the evidence. And this is where, as I said, I really hate corruption. I hate unfairness. And as much as it's hard to admit even some of the stuff, because there's families involved, and Samoa's a small island, which we're all somehow related, connected in some way or the other, that we are. And to talk about these positions and to kind of correct it, even if it goes against people that you are closely tied to, it's hard. It's really hard. But as I said, you can't, for me, right can't go and mix with the wrong. We have to stick on the line. And what I've seen so far from 2021 till now, 2026, still the opposition leader. He's doing a great job to still continuously say to the government, anyone, come take him on. And no one wants to take him on to court. But they'll definitely want to open their mouth and say this and say that, and ride the wave of being popular, being what the common people do. And so, look, with the Lakapi Samoa, we had a little touching on that, which is great to see. Right there, just right there, talking about the Lakapi Samoa. And, we all seen that people kind of making, trying to use the wave of Tuilaepa's time when he should step down and get these guys out because they're the problem of Samoan rugby. And then And so then obviously things went on. Tuilaepa's like, okay, I want to stand down on behalf of, I don't want any drama. He steps down, and then the Prime Minister, after saying we need to get these politicians out, well, the main politician you're really facing it's to Tuilaepa. It's clear as day because he's the opposition leader, he's HRPP, you're fast. We all get it. Like you're definitely looking at Tuilaepa and saying, let's get him out of the way. But then to continue on and to still create another rugby union because you feel that there's another union can make a better result for Samoa. I mean, that really goes to show, like, this move with the Lakapi Samoa, it really goes to show the politics that is being played here. It's weak politics. It's very weak politics, but it's really hard when the Samoan people are too scared to speak up. It's really hard when people don't want to be criticized because of someone might say something, or someone of their families might come and say, hey, you know, tell them to like put that video down and don't shame our name. You know, it's really hard because what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And so people who should be standing up and helping the unfairness that's happening in Samoa, they're not. So now the Prime Minister, clearly, this is politics. Clearly for him to kind of say, yes, we've got to bring another rugby union because we feel like this rugby union will do better than the Lakapi Samoa because these guys are corrupt. Despite the World Rugby kind of saying, hey, you know, like, we want you to like review your decision, right? Despite all this stuff and warnings from the World Rugby, the Prime Minister still wants to go ahead and say, no, let's make a new rugby union. Now, to the defense of Tuilaepa, what he just said there, he clearly said every year in Lakapi Samoa, in the constitution, they have a meeting with all the rugby unions around Samoa. And all these rugby unions have a chance to have a vote to kind of get rid of these guys if they need them or reject the board or reshuffle them. An opportunity to change. And every year they get chosen again. They get chosen again. So like for this whole problem to say the board is the problem, and then to kind of have the rugby unions all agreeing every year they have a meeting and they still don't have an issue with the board of Samoa. The issue really is coming from the Prime Minister with his weak politics. It's weak politics because it's like this is where the full circle and karma comes and hits back to the government. The government says we can come and help the Manu Samoa, we can help the Lakapi Samoa do a better job than what they're doing. If we bring our union, we can do a better job. So this is what the Prime Minister is trying to say. But to kind of have their launch, so when they had their launch on Friday, to have their launch, and then the event at that time, the lights went out because there was a power out, to have a blackout, which was a shock because it wasn't planned. So to have a event to launch Rugby Union Samoa, because they're gonna come and help bring Samoa back to the glory days, and then like it's so ironic that this happens, that the power of Samoa is failing due to government not being able to kind of take care of the power, and so they have a launch of the new rugby union, and then the power goes off. It just does not make any sense that the government are putting their nose in, clearly playing politics to try and fix something politically and fix something that doesn't need to be fixed. The Lakapi Samoa board, purely because of the Prime Minister's politics that he's playing. And so this is what I always say, and I've said it with many other videos, fix up your backyard before you go and fix up the Lakapi Samoa. I mean, I don't understand why you want to go against the HRPP. I don't understand why you want to put them in continuously to try and make friction and divide our people. There's people that stand with Lakapi Samoa that have been there for years, and now you've gone to rugby unions to kind of get support. and when you get your support from these rugby unions. But every year they have a vote. Now you obviously got some rugby unions that are now underneath the new rugby union board. So the question is, you're just dividing the people of Samoa. You've done it already with everything that you're doing. You've done it with the plains. You've done it with the Whanawhawai. And now you're doing it with Lakapi Samoa. We can clearly see it. We can clearly see that this is just politics. And it's weak politics. It's straight weak politics. And all the people that are commentating, who are weak, they don't even understand. They don't even understand these people who are weak in commentating. So to even reference them, they're just nobodies. But the people that get affected the most, when they came and cancelled the airline, who gets affected the most? The people of Samoa, because we don't get cheaper airlines. Right? So now we've got the Whanawhawai. Now we have this case of this person who's come and withdrawn money. The Samoa Observer had found out that they had drawn money when the money had come into their accounts. The next day, put money, like $300,000 in cash. $300,000 in cash. Transactions being taken out of the bank. That, to me, I'm like the bank manager going, yo, man, this is wrong. There's something off here. And so and now the money's missing, $1.8 million. They kind of need to explain where did the money go. And until they explain it, then the next $1.8 million is going to come into your power. So one of the district Whanawhawais, someone has misused the money. But it looks like it. It looks like there's misuse of the money unless they got evidence to prove it. But to kind of be taking money out in cash, come on, man. That's sketchy as. That's sketchy. So again, division with the people. How many people missed out? Did they get the benefits from the Whanawhawai? Or was it just the person who got the money out, the only people that they connected with, they're the only people who got benefits? So then yet again, all these other people, they didn't get the money. So division again. So division with the airlines, division with the Whanawhawai, and now we have division with Lakapi Samoa. Bad politics, man. It's really bad politics. I just don't understand it. And the world's looking at us and like, yo, man, what's happening? But I know, I can see the angle that the Prime Minister's trying to move at. I can see the angle that he's trying to hit at. He's trying to gaslight the opposition leader, Tuilaepa. He's trying to take him out. All the good works of the Tuilaepa, or what he's done with good governance, he wants out. He wants to damage it. I mean, if anyone thinks that I'm being overreacting here, please state your case, because when I look at everything that he's doing, it's just damage control. Anything HRPP, take it out. We'll do a better job. Now, fair enough, it's a better job. Fair enough if the FAST does a better job. Credit where it's due. We're not trying to say, hey, we're against the FAST. No. But we're against people who lie. That's what people are really against, liars. I mean, if you've got to do a job and if you've got to take out the airplane, make sure you can replace the airplane. If you've got to do the Whanawhawai, make sure you can answer to this misplacing of the money. So if you've got to do this Lakapi Samoa, what's your point out of it? Purely just to take Tuilaepa's good work. And that's why, when you listen to his conversation, when you let him talk, you can see his heart. You can see the heart of honesty. And he's not the charismatic, sings the red wine, UB40. Okay, mate. Yeah, okay, we get it. Right? That's the point that we're making here. The point is, this is the Samoan government here. This is not just some kind of business. This is the future for all the young kids that are coming up, the future of all Samoa. This is not just some NRL team where you got players that come in and it's the next thing. This is the future. This is going to make it whether Samoa's going to do well in economics. Are we doing well? Economically, are we doing well? And we were doing well. That's the crazy thing. We were doing well. But now, yeah, we look amazing online. We look all the colors and everything, and all the people are, yeah, fast government. Yeah, sounds great. But we can look at it. You can start to see the deterioration around Samoa. No airline, missing money. The hospitals are not getting tended to, maintenance issues, blackouts. We have blackouts in Samoa. You have tourists kind of saying, hey, is this part of the experience of our Samoan experience? Blackouts? How embarrassing, man. We are Samoans, and like, you know, it's hard to talk about the government because myself, we have family members that are in power as well. Yeah, as I said, right is right and wrong is wrong. And I'm very lenient. And I'm sure Tuilaepa is very lenient as well. But many times he's been lenient, and many times HRPP have been very lenient, and they've been taken advantage of. And I hate people like that. I hate people who take advantage of other people. That's what I really hate. I really dislike that. And I could see here the government, they're taking advantage of the government, the position they are. It's clear as day they're taking advantage of it. And to see the media not stand up, and to see the FFL, I saw FFL try to attack one of the media. You know, it's gotten that bad that our preachers of Jesus Christ are literally playing politics. That's how bad it's got. But when you go to church and you're sitting there and someone's saying, don't go and listen to this person, and cracks a joke, I just think like, man, you are the representative of Jesus, man. You should never talk out of place. That's how bad politics and money has just corrupting our people. I've seen politicians, it's like that in everywhere around the world, like Philippines. I've seen the same case. The politicians, they only care when it's time for the politician to vote, elections. But like when you see there's a clear class, higher class and a lower class. And it's sad, it's definitely happening in Samoa right now. So like, why do we speak up? That's why, because we care about Samoa, and also the opportunity to help this man, 84 years, pretty much gave all his work and his time for the government, and still giving his time right now. That's why I push and try and help to share his message. So I'm looking forward to his book that he's got to launch, and gives us more insight. But yes, politics is so boring. Naturally, politics is so boring. But the only reason why it's so entertaining now is because we can see the way Prime Minister attracts the people. Simple talking, attractive lies, and just likes to sing like, and just do what common people do. And then all the common people come and start to just yell and start to say, Tuilaepa's a liar, this and that. You guys are just trying to, come on, man. All the educated people, Tuilaepa's been asking for you people to stand up. Stand up. This is your time to stand up. In all works of Samoa, public servants, you guys have to stand up. You can't just allow this man to do the job by himself. And I just really feel like sad, when you see him open up there and, just to continuously to try and fight for what's right. In whatever way he knows, he would try and say the truth. But this is the clear indicator when you know who's telling the truth. He's sitting there saying, someone sue me. Someone sue me. No one comes forward. And then he's saying, well, show the audits then. No one wants to show the audits. The audits that show who was right. No one wants to show the audits. So until then, and to all these people who are, who think he's a bad man or he's a crook or he's a liar and all this stuff, mate, do your homework. Do your homework or listen to the program, because you're absolutely brainwashed by too much TikTok. Maybe too much TikTok. Get off your shorts and start to kind of think a little. But anyways, guys, as you heard, we got to change our time with Tuilaepa on Wednesdays. So, yeah, we'll adjust to that. And we'll go from there. So, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for blessing us with our conversation with Tuilaepa today. We also pray that we have a beautiful week ahead of us, all Samoans around the world. We also pray for the government to do their job in a peaceful and loving and honest way. We also pray for Honourable Tuilaepa and all the members of Parliament that they continue to lead our country to the righteous way that it needs to be led. Also pray for anyone that's doing it hard emotionally, mentally and physically. May you shine a light upon them, God. And we pray for anyone that is against and opposes me and says rude things. We pray for them. That you heal their vision and their mind with your light. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Safe refuge, my treasure.